Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Farasute reference number 2260. I purchased this watch with earnings from this channel. I don't have to send the watch back, obviously, but no matter how I get a watch in for review, you are always going to get my honest opinion on this channel. And I just wanted to give a shout out to all of you guys. Without you guys using my affiliate links, this review would not be possible. So yeah, a huge thank you goes out to each and every one of you guys. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving an affiliate link down in the video description. That takes you right to the Farasute official store where I purchased it from. If you guys use that link, you're not going to pay any extra. I will just earn a little bit of commission. It helps keep the channel running and helps keep getting in watches like these. The retail price for this watch is $195 US. That's before any taxes, VAT, customs, etc. I had this watch in my cart for a while, and I just kept on watching the price over the past few weeks, and I saw it drop to $135, so I snagged it. So that's the lowest I've seen it go. So Farasute, they do discount these things pretty heavily on occasion. So I suggest doing kind of what I did. Like right now it's $195, but we're coming into a sale, so it could possibly be a little bit cheaper than that in a few days. So just add it to your cart, and then when the price drops to a comfortable amount, pull the trigger on it. The watch comes in 3 different colorways that you can see here, and man, did I have a hard time deciding which one to go with. I decided on the black one just because I needed a black dress watch in the collection. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal with AR coating, push-pull crown, screwed-in case back, 30 meters of claimed water resistance, so just washing your hands with this one. And the watch is powered by the Seiko VH64 Mecha Quartz movement. So if I'm not mistaken, this is the first full review of any Farasute watch. They are not really well known in the Chinese watch world. I don't have an official site that I could really do a history check on them and see how long they've been around, but they seem to have been around a little over a year now, I think. They make homage watches, but not your typical Submariners and Seamasters. This is an homage to a very expensive Cartier that retails for around $40,000. So this one will get you the look, and it does it at a pretty good price point. So I say we dig in. Let's get into the full review, and it is a Farasute kind of day. I've got the Farasute 4130 is the model number on this one. Automatic chronograph, absolutely stunning watch. I did an unboxing on this one on my other channel, so go check that out. I'll be leaving a link right up here. But yeah, this one is coming to the channel very soon, probably next, I would say, but it is absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's get into dimensions. We've got 36 millimeters across the case, 9.8 millimeters thick, 19 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 44 millimeters, and on this applied leather strap, it weighs just under 50 grams. So this is a dressy watch, and it's a dressy size too. 36 by 44 long. 36 millimeter dress watches typically wear pretty small on me. This one, since it's a tonneau case, it doesn't wear small in my opinion. I mean, it is a smaller watch, but I think it definitely can pull off the size. And I do like the way that it wears. You got a little bit of curve to the case there. I think it looks fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, I think it wears okay. A little bit small, but it should be for a watch of this design. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. You can see there, decent curve down to those lugs as well, curved case. Just hugs my wrist perfectly, really. So really happy with that. You can see the light play off of the crystal there. It's going to be a hard watch to photograph, but you got to trust me in saying that it's not this bad in real life. So yeah, just take that for what it is. But I do think it looks really good. It's super lightweight and comfortable. I am on the very last hole on the buckle, so something to note. But otherwise, I do like the way that this thing wears. And here we are, a little bit of a sunshine there. You can see it does get washed out a little bit, but really, again, it's not that bad in person. But you can see that pattern on the dial looks awesome, looks incredible. Obviously a fully polished case, but it looks fantastic. All right, let's go throw this on some other straps and let's get back to this review. Yeah, here we are on a black with some tan stitching or white stitching. I think that looks actually pretty good. I wish this one tapered a little bit more. This is off of a C-stern, so I don't have a link for you, but I'll just give you an idea of what a black strap would look like. I think it looks pretty good though. And here we are on a light brown leather strap. I think that actually looks pretty good. Nice and clean, color match stitching. I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. So case finishing is done very nicely. It's a fully polished case. It's going to be hard to show you guys, but It is really nicely done, very high quality. It's very smooth. There's none of those spikes and stuff that we see on cheaper polishing. So they did a very nice job with the polishing, as you can see here. Fully polished, a very rounded case too. So it just looks fantastic. I'm hoping it comes across on video. But yeah, it's one of those watches where you have to see it in person to really appreciate it. I mentioned to somebody that it reflects my arm hair like a few watches do. So that just kind of goes to show you, you can really tell when you have it in person and on hand that it is a nicely done polished case, as you can see here. Polishing in between the lugs as well. It's done nicely. The crown on this thing, it's kind of that lug nut shaped crown, push-pull crown. I'm not a huge fan of the little jewels on there, but I guess you're supposed to put it down on the crown this side so it doesn't scratch the case. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure I would have done that. I might look into swapping that crown out eventually, but it does a pretty good job of allowing you to manipulate the movement here, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The case back here, it's a signed case back, really nicely done, vertical brushing, just screwed in, 4 screws there. Everything is done very good. You can see it even has this bottom edge here, which has been beveled and chamfered nicely. So it's a super soft, super comfortable watch to wear. Water resistant sapphire crystal stainless steel, reference 2260. Really nicely done. I do like the Farasute branding as well. I think the case is done to a high standard. They did a very nice job on it. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. Test it for sapphire. It is positive for sapphire. So we have a curved sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. It's clear AR coating. Sadly, you can't really tell on camera. It's showing a lot of reflections, but in real life, it's not bad at all. It's actually quite good. But you can see there, it just follows the case curvature just perfectly. It's a really nice crystal actually, and you can see there, it is the curve on the top is not the same as the curve underneath there. So you do get a little bit of distortion there at the extreme angles, as you can see there. But overall, I am pretty happy with the crystal on this thing for being the shape that it is. I knew it was going to be pretty reflective because I've had crystals of this shape before, and this one is actually pretty good. So don't let the reflections on camera fool you guys. This is actually a pretty decent crystal. All right, let's get real close and we'll talk about the dial on this. Really nicely done dial. You can see there it has the guilloche patterning on it. It looks fantastic. It plays with the light very nicely. On the black model, it's pretty subtle, but you can definitely see it. And I mean, it just looks really good. Even up close, you can see there. They did a nice job there. You do have applied little buttons there at all the hour markers, except the 12 o'clock, which is dominated by that 12 o'clock Roman numeral. But I do like the little buttons on there. I think they just kind of add a little bit to the dial. A printed minute track around the outside there, and then you have your subdials here. So on the Cartier that this is homaging, it's a monopoussoir chronograph. Here they're just using day and date. So this is a VH31. We'll talk about here in a little bit. So sweeping seconds hand there, and then you have your day and your date indicators there. So really interesting. The only complaint I have is that they're pretty small, pretty hard to read. Maybe I'm getting too old now, but I'm struggling to read those a little bit. But I do like the way that they look. You can see here they have little concentric circles in there. The printing is done nice and crisp. On this model, we have white hands. On the other ones, I believe they are blue, and I think they're just blue hands on the other models. But on this one, it's white. I think it looks really cool. It's an interesting choice for a dress watch to put white painted hands, but I think it's a very classy look, and I think it looks fantastic. Obviously, legibility on this watch is fantastic. So, I do really like the handset that they chose. It's a perfect length, absolutely perfect length. And then you got your second hand sweeping around there. So overall, the dial on this thing, just really nicely done. I mean, well executed. Proportions are spot on as well. There's no lume on it, so we don't have to worry about that. Really happy with the dial on this. It looks really, really good. All right, so let's talk about the movement. So the movement inside this is a VH64. So it's not the VK64, it is a VH64. So we have a central running seconds hand there. So that is constantly running at 4 ticks per second there, which is nice to see. And then you have 2 subdials here for your day and your date. All of that is controlled through this crown here. Again, no issues with this crown really, other than not a huge fan of the little jewel that they have on the end of it, but I know that's just a personal preference. But the movements themselves, it's part of the Mecha Quartz series, so it's kind of the same series of movements as the VK and the VH31s. So yeah, really happy with those movements. 2 years of battery life, plus or minus 20 seconds per month is the stated accuracy, but they're obviously more accurate than that. So overall, I have been pretty happy with these movements, and none of them have really let me down yet. So yeah, they're great. They're excellent. They're going to last a long time. This one is operated by this 3 o'clock push-pull crown. So first position does nothing, obviously. The second position is where you change your day and your date. So you roll it backwards, and that changes your date. So you can see here they have every other day marked. There's no real feedback to those clicks, so you just got to be careful. Pretty easy to do. You roll it forward, and that changes the day of the week. So I'm actually mistaken. I thought if you rolled it forward that it would change. It would change the day, but it doesn't. I could have sworn it did that. Maybe it was already set on the right day. Unless my movement is broken, I will. You got to roll it all the way past midnight, which is a little annoying. Thankfully, it is a quartz movement, and you can see here it doesn't change until like 3 a.m., which is typical for a Seiko watch. But yeah, an interesting little quirk of the movement. I thought for sure that it would change on its own, but unless my movement is broken, I'm going to do some research on that, and I'll put up here to tell you whether this is normal or not. But yeah, interesting. Kind of frustrated with that. It's going to take a while to get it around, so we won't do it now. But yeah, it's a nice movement. I really wish that second position would change the day, but it looks like it just changes the date. Interesting. Okay, well, that's a little bit of a negative to me, but thankfully it is a quartz movement. You're only going to have to do it once. Besides that, the watch has been fine. I guess you pull it out to the third position here, set your time, everything functions as it should. So yeah, a little bit of a quirk with the movement, but if you can get past that, which you should, it's one of those things where you just set it once and you're done. But yeah, it's going to be a nice movement for you. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. So the strap is 19 millimeters and tapers down to 16 millimeters at the clasp. It's actually a pretty nice strap. I like the patterning on it. I actually like the color too. Nice stitching on it as well. I like the texture to it. I'm on the last hole for my 7.5 inch wrist. So if you have much bigger wrists than me, it's going to be a tight fit. You might want to look into some other straps, but this is not a strap that you're going to want to toss in the bin right away. It's actually pretty decent. You have one floating keeper, one stationary keeper. You got a really nice buckle there, which is signed with the Farasute logo. Really nice and classy looking. I like it a lot. It's kind of got this flare out at the pin. It just looks cool. It's nothing super fancy, super nice, but yeah, for this, I think it's perfect. You do have the Farasute branding on the underside, 19 there, so it is 19 millimeters. So that's going to be a complaint for a lot of people, I think. Thankfully, 19 millimeter straps are becoming more popular, so I would definitely prefer 20, but I think to keep the proportions, they made the right choice here, in my opinion. Might get a little too thin on those lugs if you widen them by another 0.5 millimeter, but you do have quick release spring bars there as well. The strap is nice and supple right out of the box. So there you go, guys. That is the Farasute 2260. This is a Cartier homage, and they really did a nice job with it. The case polishing, the case shape, and the proportions of everything are excellent. Really nice crystal as well. The strap is decent. The packaging is actually pretty nice too. Probably the best packaging I've seen from a Chinese watch. So I think this brand is trying to make a name for themselves. Their prices are a little steep, but honestly, I think they might be worth it. Obviously, I got this one on a pretty heavy discount. I'm not sure I would pay $190 for this thing, but definitely like 150 I think is fair. And the fact that I got it for 135 is even better. But yeah, I think it's a brand that is trying to make a name for itself. They've got some really cool and interesting designs. The watches themselves, in my experience, are just as nice as the San Martin is. So yeah, that's what you can kind of expect from the quality on these things. So yeah, overall, very happy with this thing. I think the dial is awesome. The movement is reliable. And the only real negative that I have about it is not being able to change the date, which is an odd thing, but and something that it should do. I think it's still a weird one. I'm have to do some research on that, but other than that, I think you're getting a really cool watch, and not anything. It's not a tank homage. It's a very obscure watch to homage. So yeah, I think it's got that going for it as well. And they just did an excellent job on it. Really happy with the watch. Really happy with the brand so far. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.